This podcast is part of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network. Let's build community through connection, conversation, and collaboration. This podcast is sponsored by Lever Consulting, editing with a purpose. Check them out at leverconsulting.com for a free consultation.
What does it mean to be happy? 'Cause it looks like we all don't know. Glass half full or empty. Man, we just putting on a show.
Hi, I'm Jake.
And I'm V,
And you're listening to the It's Working podcast.
where we take deep dives into mental health, breaking stigmas, and starting conversations.
Oh, you know, I try to find a purpose in my life to drive me, to guide me. Oh, doctor, I feel dead inside.
We are not healthcare professionals, and our opinions should not be taken as facts or as medical advice. To see any sources, resources, or study we speak about in this podcast, please check out our website, linked in the description of this podcast. If you or a loved one is struggling, there is hope and there is help. Some helpful resources can be found on our website, linked in the description of this podcast. It's Working Podcast is a production from the Pull Up a Chair Foundation. All opinions in this podcast belong to our hosts and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Pull Up a Chair Foundation. Oh, it's happening. Oh, it's the last episode of season 3. Oh my god.
We did it.
We did it. We finished the season.
We're still on the air.
We still are on the air.
We haven't gotten kicked off.
No. Thank goodness. The network hasn't booted us.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, so...
I was really trying.
You were trying. You were trying to get us booted.
No, yeah.
Okay. Well, since you were trying, let's hear about your experience, Jake. So Jake, my co-host here, for people who've been listening, this is his first year on the It's Working podcast with me.
Mm-hmm.
He's done an entire season. What was it like for you?
It was, and I'm sure the episodes will. Oh my god, we're a season in and I still can't talk. I'm sure the episodes at the very beginning will reflect this sentiment, but like it was hard in the beginning. I was definitely struggling to find my steps, my voice. I think I still am trying to figure out like that personality, like, and get comfortable with the fact that people are actually going to be listening to this. But it's been fun coming over and recording, as often as we do, and sharing life experiences, as uncomfortable sometimes as those experiences might be to recall. But I do it because throughout this whole experience and season, I believe 100% that people will get something out of hearing these stories, whether it be validation or sage advice that maybe they needed to turn something in their life around that they were unsatisfied with.
Yeah. We even talked about this earlier. You had a friend who, let's call Lemongrass. Lemongrass was, I mentioned to Lemongrass that we had a podcast and they were like, oh yeah, I gotta listen to this. And you just melted. You're like, oh, wait, what? You're gonna listen to this? And I was like, yes, Lemongrass. It's a great podcast. We've been working on it together for like a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked over and I saw you falling to pieces and I was like, oh, I made bad decision. I made bad choice. Bad choice.
Yeah, well, credit to Lemongrass because they're really cool. And after that, I think they noticed that I melted, that I like actually physically fell apart. I'm pretty sure I was like bright red at the mention of like the podcast, because I don't think, while we come together and we record these episodes as often as we do, I don't think it really hit me until the moment of like advocate, like, like putting it out there, like, oh yeah, we have a podcast, and someone was like, oh yeah, I'll check it out, that I realized that people will actually be hearing these words. And then I get in my own head like, oh my god, I could have done so much better. Like, you know, if we were to go back and do like the season all over again, now I think I would be more comfortable sharing in the earlier episodes all the stuff that we talk about. But I mean, it is what it is. It's out there. And I'm not unhappy with it. The perfectionist in me is like, oh, but it could have been so much better.
So that means you're going to help me more in season 2. Or I guess season 4. No? Am I losing another co-host?
No, I'll consider coming back.
Okay.
You haven't scared me off so far.
I mean, I'm glad I haven't scared you off.
Yeah.
Because you're a very pleasant co-host.
I really enjoy doing this. This has been fun. And like I said at the beginning, I really do believe that sharing our stories and talking about these things will help people. And so to that. And I would very much like to come back and continue doing this. And I'm really looking forward to season 2 when we get like potentially
season 4, technically.
Oh yeah, season 4.
Yeah, it's season 2 for you, season 4 for me.
My second season, season 4 for you. Whatever number we land on.
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons in a movie. I am looking forward to tackling issues that our lovely viewers want to hear us talk about. Because I think that would be... I mean, that's just like meeting the needs, right? Like, yeah. we came up with this list of things, I think, almost entirely on our own. And they were things that struck an accord with us personally. But I think it'd be cooler in the next one to talk about things that y'all want to hear us talk about.
And we'll talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what it is. True crime, the psychology behind it. Mm-hmm. It could be more about narcissism or situational awareness, or I have a little bit of experience with like bipolar disorder and other stuff. We're open to it. As long as you can connect it to mental health, we will talk about it.
Oh, yeah. So I do look forward to that. And it's been a ride. It's been a real treat.
It's been a treat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what would you say has been your favorite episode so far?
I want to be clear on something. Is this just going to be like a post-season interview for me, or are you going to share your opinions as well?
If there's anything you want my opinion on, I will share it.
Well, how do you feel about this last season?
I've really enjoyed you being on here. No, don't get me wrong, Kat, if you're out here listening. I want you back, girl. Come to me.
I've heard great things.
Yes, I love my cat.
Mm-hmm.
But her and I are very similar in a lot of points. Where you and I have very little actually in common, aside from we both want to be good people.
Yeah.
I think that's just about the only thing we truly have deeply in common, is that we both want to be good people. And everything else about us is totally different.
Oh my gosh.
And so
that's fit. We very different walks of life, I think. Yeah.
And so having such a different set of eyes and ears and thoughts and opinions and life experience, I find is absolutely invaluable.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's going to relate to me. Not everybody's going to relate to you. But seeing how two people who can be so different can still relate on so many levels and work so hard to not only be friends, but make and build something together, I find not just, I don't want to say inspiring because it's silly, but helpful. I don't have to be just like everybody. I don't have to be in an echo chamber to do stuff or to be somebody. I can just be. And other people can just be, and they don't have to be like me to be.
Yeah. No, that part's been cool too. I've enjoyed that. Hearing the stories, some stuff that I didn't know just through being your friend.
I don't just wear my heart on my sleeve.
I mean, you do, but the deeper, there's always going to be a little bit of a digging deeper aspect to every relationship. So being part of those conversations has been cool too.
What's been your favorite episode so far?
Oh my God. Okay. So I think my favorite episode would either be the one where we're talking about community.
That was a good one.
'Cause I think that was the first one that I really just fired off and I was like talking a majority.
That was your episode.
That was my episode. Let's be frank. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
That was my episode, and I came to the plate and I hit a home run. I feel, that one, or I want to say. Funny enough, I think it's between the community one or the dating one.
That dating one is my favorite episode.
I bet, because you did a tricksy little trick at the end.
I walked you into the biggest trap, I think. And I try to trap you a lot, but I like to set up a flow with my episodes, and I like to do research. And that had the research, it had the flow, it had me walking you and setting you up for something, and you just you coasted into it like you were safe, and then you got punched in the face with info, and it was amazing.
You know, it was pretty fun. That's not even the trap I'm talking about. I'm talking about the end credit.
Oh,
that one was
trap.
just despicable. I can't believe I fell for it twice in an episode. It's like, how do you do that? I guess it's just like, I really do. I trusted that was like the only trick, and boy, was I wrong.
I got you comfortable. That was a mistake on your end. You should never feel comfortable.
Rule number 1, trust no one.
Trust no one, especially me.
Oh my god.
What was the most interesting thing you think you learned?
Most interesting thing I think I learned all season, man, was probably the imposter syndrome episode, because that was a big point of growth, I think, for me personally, because a lot of the things that we touched base on, I found myself experiencing personally. And when we went over like some of the ways to identify and how to like move past some of those traits, like I've actually been trying to call myself out.
I've actually seen it. You've gotten so much better on talking down about yourself, about questioning your own abilities. It's been a beautiful flourishing. Yeah.
And I think it's done wonders for like the confidence, and you know, this sort of like idea of like I haven't earned where I'm at within my work life, social life, the brotherhood. It really just like comes in and like fights for me, you know, like where I would feel like, you know, an imposter. I'm now able to recognize like, well, no, but you put in the work. So like you were able to like recognize this because you're doing it. Like,
yeah. You're not just talking out of your butt.
Mm-hmm. And then now it helps me call other people out on it too. Like my students who are going through similar things, like, well, no, be fair to yourself. Like tell yourself the truth. Yeah. You're at this place, but what have you done? And then they're able to like help themselves. So that's been cool too. It's been like a domino effect I've been able to see. Just like I help myself, and then I'm able to knock over dominoes and help my students, other people in my life. It's been good.
Yeah, because you have more tools in your tool belt.
Mm-hmm. More tools in the tool belt.
Yeah. I think I learned so much on the episode about social anxiety and methods on taking it, and I think that's because I did research and I found somebody smarter than me who had like a lot of tips on how to actually combat that in your day-to-day life, and it was, I would say, invaluable, because I try so hard not to be liked, but just to not be hated, and I still worry all the time that I will never find a group of people that accepts me. And I'm hoping that using the tools now in my tool belt, I can get through that.
I hope so too. Because I'm part of one of those groups, and I continue to tell you that you're accepted and loved, and people recognize the efforts that you put in.
I don't think anybody even knows my name in our LARPing group.
Oh my god. False. Incorrect. Tell yourself the truth.
Alright. I think the most interesting thing I learned about you is that you are a lot more open-minded than I would assume a good Christian boy to be.
I actually appreciate that. I have really committed myself in recent years to try and like develop a more broad understanding, because I think fresh out of high school I was like at the peak of like indoctrination, where like I was like I was one word from the Pope short of, like, going on crusade.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you can believe it, right? Like,
God.
that's hard to think about. But, like, and I don't think I was ever, like, you know, Bible thumping, like, terrible, but, like, I really was, like, coming to bat for, like, the littlest things. Like, I've learned to recognize which hills to die on now in regards to my faith, and there are some things that I will not back up on. But, like, certainly it doesn't need to come to, like, every, like, conversation at the dinner table.
Yeah.
You know?
And, like, how respectful you were to Ryan, who did the ethical non-monogamy episode discussing ethical polyamory.
Yeah, because it's fascinating, and I hardly, like, knew anything about it. Like, raised in a life of, like, where monogamy was the goal. Like, never even considered, like,
your only life goal.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not saying, like, you know, that isn't the case for me still. Like, I think I would still very much like to have,
which is totally
like,
valid.
Yeah, that's just me, but being able to now, I guess, like, approach, entertain, try and understand, like, how that would work. Like, it was fascinating. Everything that was said, I was, like, on the edge of my seat. I think that might be one of the more, like, quiet episodes for me because I didn't have anything to contribute. I was just listening and learning along with our viewers at that point. Like, I was just like, wow, I never thought about it that way.
And you saw somebody
That's so
that
crazy.
I bully worse than I bully you.
Yeah.
Ryan is, like, one of my most special friends. I don't know what it is about him and I. We're, like, siblings in our souls. Soul siblings.
Soul siblings.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah. Definitely 1,000% platonic. I saw the comments, you guys. There's nothing going on between Ryan and I. I understand and his lifestyle. Personally, I could never. Not that I'm passing judgment, but I'm very possessive of my Michael, and everybody wants him too. If Michael and I were polyamorous, he would have all of the partners.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
Like, at least once a month, somebody's like, ooh.
Who's that?
Yeah, and those are the ones I hear about at least
Yeah.
once a month. So I'm sure there's a lot of people like, ooh, and it's like, no, I've claimed.
I love having those conversations with people too. Oh, who's that? Who? Him over there. Oh, that's Mike. What's his deal? Oh, he's big married. He's big married to her over there. Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, man. You eat your all man because he's mine. I've laid claim. I don't wear my wedding ring every day, but I've claimed him.
Oh, wow. That's been fun.
What's the most interesting thing you think you've learned about me?
Oh, man. I have really enjoyed, and it's not so much one thing, I really enjoy hearing people's stories. So anytime that you open up a little bit about what your youth was like, or the challenges that you faced growing up, what you, like, experienced, I really enjoy hearing those stories from people. So that has been a real treat, because, I mean, I believe in the power of stories, so, yeah, I'll call them stories because we use another word, but
Don't tell me you're going to say testimony.
I was going to say
Good
testimony.
Christian boy,
But that's why I
Jake.
didn't say it.
I
However,
appreciate your language.
it's the lived experiences that, like, you know, not all of us have, that I think have the real power to change and, like, shape minds. Like, you know, it's like it's the thing that happens in every Hallmark movie when, like, people, like, start talking about, like, what they went through, and then there's always, like, the main character that's like, oh, I never knew, like, they went through that. This changes my whole entire... The Grinch, okay? Who knows? Maybe this will change my entire outlook on life. Really? But he says no, because he's the Grinch. But, anyways, I believe those are really cool, and I've enjoyed hearing those stories from you.
And hopefully we'll have another season of it. Guys, we are going to log off here. Our episodes are probably going to come out again in early spring next year. So right when you see the grass growing, think of us, because we'll be coming back for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you then. Bye!
See ya. join the conversation. Find us on social media at It's Working Podcast or link below.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you join us next week.
Be kind to yourself and to others.
What does it mean to be happy? 'Cause it looks like we all don't know. Glass half full or empty. Man, we just putting on a show. Oh, you know, I try to find a purpose in my life to drive me, to guide me. Oh, doctor, I feel dead inside.
Sarah and Scooter Podcast is a conversation between
You guessed it.
Sarah,
And Scooter. We are not experts on any of these topics.
just hoping to spark something like an idea, conversation, or even a revelation.
Subjects will vary depending on our friends, family, and community.
Sometimes it will be what we want to talk about.
New episodes drop every week on all of your favorite podcast formats.
So pull up a chair and
And let's talk about stuff.